Good day, grade 5. Welcome to our English class. I am your teacher, Luz Biminda, your teacher in English for today. Today, we are on Quarter 4, Module 2, Lesson 3, using comparison and contrast to write a paragraph. At the end of this lesson, you should be able to 1. Write a paragraph showing comparison and contrast. 2. Create a Venn diagram to show similarities and differences of two concepts. 3. Analyze a text with a comparison and contrast text structure. And 4. Write a paragraph using signal words to show comparison and contrast. Are you ready for our new lesson? That's good! But before we go over with our new lesson, let us test what you really know about our topic for the day. Directions. Read and underline the signal or transitional words used in a paragraph showing comparison and contrast. Oceans and ponds. To a small child, the ocean and the pond seem very much the same. However, there are important differences to point out. To begin with, a pond is a very small body of water. On the other hand, the ocean covers more than half of the Earth's surface. Ponds are very shallow compared with ocean, that is several thousand miles in deep in most places. Some green pond plants are rooted in mud on the floor of a pond. Because of the ocean's depth, the sunlight can't reach the ocean's floor. However, no green plants grow there. Ponds contain fresh water as opposed to ocean, which is the largest body of salt water on Earth. While they are both bodies of water, there are clearly major differences between the ocean and a pond. Let us check your answers. Do we have the same answers? Now, study the Venn diagram carefully. Based from the diagram, frogs have smooth skin. They have powerful legs. They are slimmer, smaller, and more streamlined. While toads have dry skin. They are fatter and slower to move, and they can puff themselves up with air. Frogs and toads both belong to group of amphibians. They have lungs. They breathe through their skin and eat insects. Did you study carefully the Venn diagram, class? That's nice. Let us see if you really understand the diagram. To check your understanding, answer the next activity. Direction. Identify if the description belongs to frog, toad, or both. Number 1. Have dry skin. If you answered toad, you are correct. Number 2. Slimmer, smaller, and more streamlined. If you answered frog, very good. Number 3. Breathe through their skin. If you answered both, you are right. Number 4. Have lungs. Again, if you answered both, very good. Number 5. Can puff themselves up with air. If you answered toad, excellent. Did you know that Venn diagram is one way of comparing and contrasting? Do you know what is comparison and contrast? Comparison and contrast is a type of text structure that examines the similarities and differences between two or more people, events, objects, concepts, or ideas. A paragraph with this structure can also explain how a place changes over time. Using this structure, the author shows how two or more things are alike and or how they are different. A text with this type of structure usually answers the following questions. What things are being compared and contrasted? In what ways are they alike? And in what ways are they different? Here are some signal words or phrases used to organize with this type of text structure. To show similarities, here are the signal words or phrases you can use. Examples: same as, alike, both, not only, but also, similar, as well as, and instead of. And to show differences, here are the signal words or phrases you can use, like either or, different from, although, while, on the other hand, as opposed to, however, and compared with. Moreover, the ideas presented in this type of text structure is best illustrated using a Venn diagram. All the attributes or traits that the objects being compared have in common are written inside the intersection of two circles, or the overlapping area. On the other hand, all the attributes that are specific to that particular object are written in the areas outside the overlapping section. Let us read the text to know more about comparison and contrast. Rice terraces and plain rice fields are alike in a few ways and different in many others. Both are prepared paddy areas for planting rice and perhaps other crops. Similarly, these two farmland can be irrigated so that plants may have enough water to thrive. However, rice terraces are pieces of sloped plains that have been cut into steps. They are commonly used to farm on hilly or mountain terrain. On the other hand, plain rice fields or paddies are flat and wide surface of land usually farmed on valleys and plains. Rice terraces need more effort and time for farmers to transport farming tools and other equipment, while plain rice fields allow easier management of such materials. Though alike and different in more other ways, what matters most in both farms is the effective production of staple foods such as rice, corn, wheat, and other crops. The two subjects compared in the paragraph are rice terraces and plain rice field. You can easily notice the similarities and differences using Venn diagram. Based from the diagram, rice terraces can be found on hills and mountains. They are like steps. They have more effort and time for farming tools transport, while plain rice fields can be found on valleys and plains. They have flat surfaces. They are more convenient transport of tools and other materials. Rice terraces and plain rice fields are both paddy areas. They can be irrigated. They are used to grow rice, corn, wheat, and other crops. Here are some guidelines for writing. 1. Choose two items or concepts that are comparable. In other words, a sensible and logical relationship is evident between the two. 2. Decide on your central idea. or your thesis statement that serves as the framework of your essay. And 3. Think about the purpose of writing the essay. Try to ask yourself these questions. Do you want to elaborate and clear concept? Do you have new insights about the topic? Or do you intend to prove that one is better than the other? Remember, comparison and contrast is a type of text structure that examines the similarities and differences between two or more people, events, objects, concepts, or ideas. Use the transition or signal words that show similarities such as like, similarly, and both, and differences such as both, however, while, and on the other hand. And you can use a Venn diagram to show similarities and differences. Did you understand our lesson for today? Okay, very good. This time, here is a selection to test if you really understand our lesson. Read carefully the selection, then answer the questions that follow. Basketball and volleyball. It's all a matter of enjoyment. Basketball and volleyball are two of the most popular sports in the world. People from different parts of the world and from all walks of life have watched and enjoyed a good basketball or volleyball game at least once in their life. Although both sports require the use of a ball, these two sports are still very much different from each other, especially when it comes to the rules and materials needed for the game. Basketball and volleyball both require courts where players could play. In a basketball court, the players can roam around freely, and they shoot their balls into hoops at both sides of the court. Meanwhile, there is a net in the middle of a volleyball court, which is why volleyball players have to stay on their own side. The players of both sports use a ball to play the sport. However, the rules are different between the two sports. The main aim in volleyball is to volley the ball back and forth over the net without dropping it. Then, the main aim in basketball is to shoot the ball into the hoop. People play or watch sports to relieve stress, to feel thrilled, and to enjoy. Sports like basketball and volleyball are the most common and popular sports usually featured on television and watched by so many people. Although they are both played using a ball, these two sports have similarities and differences, and each one has its own appeal to people. Did you understand the selection? Okay, here are the questions. Question number 1. What is the text about? You are correct. Question number 2. What do you think is the purpose of the writer? Very good. Question number 3. What are the similarities between basketball and volleyball? You are correct. Question number 4. What are the differences between basketball and volleyball? Excellent! Job well done, class! That ends our lesson for today. See you again on our next lesson. Bye!